Did I say something? Good morning, everyone. It's such a great honor to be here with you. I gotta say, though, I'm more accustomed to being on that side of the podium asking questions. So this is a bit different. You'll be kind, right? Before I start, I wanted to thank my wife Felice and my brother Will, who are here today, and to my daughters Talia and Alexa, and my mom and my sister Amy, who are watching from around the country. I'd also like to pay tribute to my cousin, John Hyde, Williams class of 1956, and a longtime history professor here, who died in March at the age of 93. John loved Williams, and he put the college on the map for me as a teenager growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area. Today's a big day, the beginning of what, for most of you, will be your final year at Williams. I'm sure you're all feeling a swirl of emotions right now. Suspense, excitement, unease, and maybe even what I'll call premature nostalgia. That is the anticipation that this time in your life will be something that you will miss later. But I want to reassure you, there's more to look forward to, a lot more. Williams is a unique place. And while there is, in a sense, a common experience, there are so many ways to go about having it. For you seniors and graduate students, this coming year is another chance to try something new. In fact, your Williams experience is really just beginning. Sometimes it takes years for it to come into focus, for the pieces to kind of fit together. At least that's been true for me. So what do I mean by that? Let me share a little bit about how Williams readied me for my career and life. When I was sitting where you are, right there, 43 years ago, I was coming off my junior year abroad in Madrid, Spain. How many of you were able to study abroad while you were here at Williams? Okay, so you know, right? It was a great experience. It was a great experience of learning a language, of immersing yourself in culture, and travel. When I came back, I was pumped for my senior year, but I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. Was it to be a journalist, a foreign service officer, maybe a teacher? I ended up applying to 75 newspapers my senior year, and I was rejected at every one. There was a glut of journalists that year. So after graduation, I went home to Northern California to teach swimming and be a lifeguard. And then one day that summer, an unlikely Williams connection played an important role in getting me my first job. A family friend tipped me off to an opening of the Tri-City Herald, a small daily newspaper in eastern Washington state. When I met with the executive editor, it turned out he had a tie to Williams. His brother, Norman Peterson, taught religion at the college. Now, I hadn't taken any classes from Professor Peterson, but that didn't matter. The Williams reputation helped tip the balance in my favor, and I got the job. And not for the last time, a Williams connection opened a door to an opportunity. Let me also say this. I know there's pressure once you leave Williams to aim high, to work for the biggest investment banking firm, the most prestigious tech company, the flashiest marketing agency. But it's also okay to start small and local. There's a lot to learn there. That first year at the Herald, I learned to cover a daily beat, local education at a time when a slumping economy was forcing the closure of schools. I learned how to write on deadline, quickly but clearly, and I gained more confidence. I discovered a new part of the country, the Pacific Northwest, that I now love dearly, and I made lifelong friends. From that small paper, I made the jump to the New York Times, working first as a news assistant in Washington, and then in New York. Then as a young reporter, covering business, the airlines, and Long Island, where most importantly I met my wife, before landing in Washington again to cover the Pentagon. Within a few months, I was covering my first conflict, the Persian Gulf War of 1991. One of my mentors was John Kiffner, Williams' class of 1963. Kiff had come up through the paper as I did, as a clerk, and became a legendary foreign correspondent. Kiff had an uncanny ability to parachute into a foreign place, foreign country, usually knowing only a few phrases of the language, and to find just the right sources and capture just the right scene to write a vivid, captivating dispatch on an impossible deadline. One day we were sitting in the lobby of a hotel in Saudi Arabia. Kiff, dressed in cargo pants and a desert camouflage vest, pulled from his pocket his passport, battered and dog-eared. It was an inch thick, bursting with visas and extra pages with exotic stamps. I knew then that's what I wanted to do. It was the beginning of more than 30 years of covering conflicts around the world. And along the way, I've run into Williams alums at foreign embassies, military bases, the White House, the halls of Congress, and other corners of government, industry, and academia. And each time that Williams connection has provided an initial touchstone, a knowing common experience. This is a particularly volatile time in the world today that you're about to enter in this last year, with the US presidential elections and the wars in Gaza and Ukraine, just to name a few of the biggest stories we journalists are covering. In a speech in March, my boss, A.G. Sulzberger, the publisher of the Times, warned of the challenges and responsibilities facing journalists today as the number of newspapers nationwide continues to shrink. Threats, harassment, and attacks on journalists continue to escalate, stoked by anti-press rhetoric that calls journalism fake news and the people who report it enemies of the people, A.G. said. As news organizations strain against these pressures, they have to compete in an information ecosystem dominated by a handful of tech giants and polluted with misinformation, conspiracy theories, propaganda, and clickbait, all of which are further eroding trust in media, he continued. In this environment, AG's charge to us has been to challenge conventional wisdom and groupthink and to maintain a commitment to open-mindedness. Above all, our mission is to seek the truth and help people understand the world, and to empower them with the information they need to make decisions for themselves. Now, if these values sound familiar, they should. That is what Williams teaches us: to challenge assumptions, to be open to new ideas, even from less than appealing messengers sometimes, to be curious, and to speak truth to power. As I mentioned, my Williams experience has grown on me over the years. What I learned here, the people I met, the adventures I had, I've carried that forward, and each year, that experience and its importance have come into sharper focus. Let me share 3 takeaways from my life's journey that may help you on yours, and the people at Williams who embodied them. Those takeaways are passion, partnerships, and community. Antonio Jimenez, my first-year Spanish teacher, was a hard ass. Antonio is from Extremadura, the hardscrabble region of western Spain, and he was demanding at 8 a.m. each weekday morning in his Spanish 101 class. But his passion for teaching kindled in me a love of the Spanish language and culture, and Antonio strongly encouraged me to spend my junior year in Madrid. In addition to my studies there, I worked as a freelance journalist and covered the Spanish military's attempted coup of Spain's fledgling democracy. That year helped inspire me to be a correspondent covering conflicts from Iraq and Afghanistan to Somalia in the Middle East. So pursue your passions. It may take a few tries, and you may stumble along the way, but you'll find them. Second, partnerships. In the fall of 1978, I was a freshman walk-on to the cross-country team here. There were star runners from all over the country, but there was also a place for someone like me on a team infused with a spirit of inclusiveness. The person who made that happen was the brand new coach, who himself had graduated just a few years earlier from Williams, Peter Farwell. Pete is as competitive as they come, as many of you here can attest to from your own experiences on his teams. But he also knew how to have fun and how to knit together teams with tight camaraderie. The importance of teamwork and collaboration is a lesson that I have carried with me throughout my work and my life. Surround yourself with the brightest, kindest, and most genuine people you can, the mensches of the world. People who fill their lives and yours with joy and purpose. People who are guided by the principle that they are part of something bigger than themselves. And that brings me to my third takeaway, community. As hard as you'll work, and knowing Williams graduates, you'll work very hard, make quality time for the family you have in the future and for giving back to your community. At Williams, I had the great fortune to volunteer in the classroom of a remarkable first grade teacher, Jane Allen, spending a few hours each week with 6-year-olds. Seeing life through their innocent eyes was an unexpected treat. Volunteering in Jane's classroom enriched my Williams experience and taught me the importance of giving back to the communities where I've lived. I'll bet you've had experiences like this and know people like this already, and more experiences like these await you. They will grow on you over the years and remind you in ways large and small of your time here. This year will pass quickly, very quickly. Lean into it. If you've worked really, really hard these past 3 years, pull it back a bit. Enjoy it. And for those of you who have not worked so hard, now is definitely the time. Either way, stretch your mind and soak it all in. Williams has helped prepare you for your next steps, whatever they may be. Be brave. Be independent. Search for the nuances. Pay attention to details. Judge less, listen more. Elevate, inspire, and empower others. You have a voice that matters. Trust your vision. Enjoy your friends. Treasure these moments. Thank you again. Have an amazing year and a fantastic future.